from a setup position, if we were just to take it halfway back and then go to impact, good impact position, you can see the shaft, of course, is leaning forward, right? That lead wrist pretty flat, kind of flexed out a little bit this way, right wrist bent. I like that right elbow bent too, right elbow, right wrist bent, really strong position. And that shaft leaning forward and the face is kind of square and de-lofted, right?
Yep.
Like that 8-iron looks like we've turned it down a bit, maybe to like a 7, right? So in the video that you saw, it was, nope, right?
Yep.
We see that a lot. And then even, all right, shaft forward, nope.
Yeah.
Because that's a hang on. You can see the lead hand here turned up to the sky. So it was, all right, shaft forward, yep.
Hey guys, before we dive into today's video, I want to let you know we are going to be continuing our 30-day money-back guarantee at CogornoGolf.com. The response has been phenomenal. So many of you guys are taking advantage of the offer. We really want to continue helping as many of you as possible. And I know sometimes getting over the hump and signing up for something you haven't done before is a little bit risky. You might not be comfortable with it. That's why we want to provide this 30-day money-back guarantee so you can try it completely risk-free, send your swings in. We build you a customized practice plan. I'm talking specific drills, what to focus on, how many days a week to do it, what reps to do, right? How many reps to do. Nothing cookie cutter. It's very personalized. You're going to absolutely love it. Would love to see you at CogornoGolf.com. Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about the ultimate impact zone, how your arms and hands work, and how to educate your arms and hands so you can get the perfect impact zone, hit the ball better, compress the ball, more consistency, everything we all want. To my left, the man again, needs no introduction, but just in case, Mr. Travis Fulton. Travis, thanks, man.
Hey, welcome to Jacksonville Golf and Country Club.
Beautiful facility, beautiful day for us to film. We're gonna talk a little bit impact, couple drills, educating the hands. If you guys haven't seen Travis's Instagram before, haven't seen his podcast, we're gonna put links down below so you can check out Travis's stuff. Awesome golf coach, awesome guy, awesome podcast. You guys are gonna really enjoy that. We'll put that down below if you haven't checked it out. And part of why we're here, and we had spoken, I had looked at Travis's Instagram and seen some videos, like I mentioned some of the other videos, and a couple of them that we haven't either talked about specifically here yet, right, or maybe different versions of things that I think really will help people play better. And there was a video you did on there that I laughed at in a good way.
Yeah.
That was funny, and provided a really nice message about training impact. And so maybe let's talk about that a little bit, what that drill was. And I think that just organically came out when you were doing that drill the first time.
Yeah, kind of did, yeah.
And it was beautiful. Maybe let's talk about that, the drill, the impact, and how we would educate the arms and hands.
Yeah, so an impact bag here, and we're gonna bring this in. And I like the impact bag because it obviously gives us the opportunity to get the club face to come in, match up to the bag. We're not gonna hit it real hard, but just to kind of slow things down, get into the meat and potatoes, right, of the swing and how things should work, right? It's almost like reverse engineering, like let's kind of educate here a little bit. And then as we get this better, then, well, as I try to kind of get through there, then things start to match up in order for me to do this. Okay, so go ahead and take your setup there. And from a setup position, if we were just to take it halfway back and then go to impact, good impact position, you can see the shaft, of course, is leaning forward, right? That lead wrist pretty flat, kind of flexed out a little bit this way, right wrist bent. I like that right elbow bent too, right elbow, right wrist bent, really strong position. And that shaft leaning forward and the face is kind of square and de-lofted, right?
Yep.
Like that 8-iron looks like we've turned it down a bit, maybe to like a 7, right? So in the video that you saw, it was, nope, right?
Yep.
We see that a lot. And then even, all right, shaft forward, nope.
Yeah.
Because that's a hang on. You can see the lead hand here turned up to the sky. So it was, all right, shaft forward, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it is. That's what we want. You felt that left hand kind of turn the face down, and now it's square. And that's where we want to be in a good impact position.
Yeah, and it was so, and either maybe we'll put the Instagram video up, you guys can go check it out, but the authenticity of the moment when you did it, and it was like, nope, nope, yep.
Right.
And provided such an awesome message. This impact bag, interestingly enough, I think in my journey of coaching and teaching, started off very popular, had a phase in the middle where it sort of was maybe looked at as like a negative or bad thing, and I think is sort of coming back now. I've used it so much effectively with people to educate the arms and hands, specifically at impact, which I want to dig into. But one of the things too, just to kind of clarify that when you guys are using these, the no version that we would see the most, right? Probably the most common no, and it was the first no, which would be the club head to the bag,
Right.
handle back,
Yeah.
right? The secondary no would be, hey, the club head gets there with the shaft leaning forward, but the heel's way in front of the toe, left wrist and face are open. And I see that, Travis, so much when we start training some impact positions to reverse engineer other pieces, is potentially the player learns how to get the handle forward, but man, not a large percentage right away prior to me coaching them are able to get the club face square apart. And I shouldn't say are able to, they don't do it, probably from, they don't think to do it.
Right.
And it's been an interesting thing for me to watch as a coach and as a player of, I think there's a lot of negative notion to the idea of actively, consciously thinking that I need to square club face. And not that I want to go this whole video on that route, but it's one of the things that we have talked about a lot of, like, I'll have a conversation a lot with a player who's hitting it right, and we're like, hey, the club face is open. And then I'll be like, you know, we can square that then.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, if they had a little more freedom in their mind of like, it's okay to have a little bit of motion there. And in fact, if your ball's going to the right too much, you need to do that.
Yeah.
You need to do that.
Yeah. Ideally, I think you're trying to close the face in preparation for the impact condition, right? Like a good rule of thumb, you know, the more I can kind of prepare the face early and then turn and hit it, the better. But to your point, sometimes like we get to the impact zone and the player just hangs on.
Yeah.
You know, especially a player who has been swinging too much out to in, you know, and they swing out to in and they may not chicken wing it, they might just turn and kind of hang on and back up, and that left hand's been so trained to be turned this way that the idea of them letting that swivel down a little bit and turn down is just tough, right? You have to get in there and kind of get them to feel that. And I've had a lot of success with doing this in the impact zone, not only hands and arms, but when I get them to feel like, okay, here's my right elbow, right wrist, here's my left hand, yeah, I can see that shaft face, I can feel that from there to there. You know, and then as they're doing that, then I can get in there and kind of mold the body around it. So when they go to the impact position, it's like, I ask them, like, where's the weight? You know, do you feel the weight kind of moving a little bit into the lead foot? You're already naturally kind of rotating and getting out of the way. And I think as you do that, you just want to make sure they have some adequate side bend to the right, because it's very easy, I think, for the amateur player to really get the upper body to go out ahead with it.
Yeah.
As the weight shifts left, the body turns like that.
Yep.
Now we know, you know, I think the lower handicaps, sometimes they'll hang back a little bit. So that side bend with maybe your more skilled players, they can get too much right bend. And you want them to maybe have less of that and cover it.
Yep.
But I think with the higher handicaps, and when you're doing this kind of training, weight left, turning, feeling that little side bend to the right is a good thing, because now they're behind it. There's the alignment and the education of the arms and hands. And this is a very different dynamic for the first time for a player to get into this condition. I mean, they oftentimes when you get them to hold it, they feel their left glute really activated right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, go ahead and stand up a minute. That's good. Let's reset it.
Yeah.
But that kind of stretch and that kind of feeling is a good thing, because they're doing it right now for the first time.
And you're right, Travis. I mean, I go off on a tangent a lot with the club face stuff and the arms and hands, but there's a lot of body here. You know? Be able to train the body motions of just as some simple cues. You know, you're saying a little bit of the weight's forward, under the left leg, left heel. I'm opening, right? My body, my rib cage, my pelvis is open. But my head will kind of stay, you know, staying back, right? Or kind of staying where the ball is here as I hit. And it's a really nice test, I think, for someone to do this and check and see where you're at. I mean, it exposes a lot of flaws.
It does.
Right? And so, you know, I had mentioned about the club face piece just because I see that so much. And I think as you go through, but you're going to see the same thing with your body to that point of like, oh, wow, when I do that, my head does go way forward.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, like when I come in, my club head does get there before the handle.
That's right.
Right? The pelvis rotation, all of those pieces. And so when I start to practice this, And I would just make that note, right? Just make sure, especially if you're someone who goes to the right, and we had talked, Travis, I bring this up all the time to someone. If you held the club in front and the leading edge was straight up and down and that's square, I say, yeah, just swing it around your body and show me what an impact would look like. 95% of the time, I get a look like this.
Yeah.
Which is the toes too far behind the heel. And then that player, if I have them, you know, add a little bit of arm rotation, a little bit of wrist bow, a little bit of supination to get the face square. And to your point on that, I would love for the face to be set early, right? But a golfer who doesn't do that for whatever reason, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with someone where they don't want to do the arm rotation. We do the arm rotation, and they hit it better after.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. It's the reverse engineering effect, right? Like, there's a lot of people that learn from down here first. You know, and kind of you really get the picture clear down here.
Where am I going?
Yeah, and then things start to kind of fall into place around that. I don't think sometimes it doesn't work for everybody, but I think this kind of training and understanding goes a long ways in saying, to your point, I hit the bag and it's like, here I am at impact. What am I feeling? Oh yeah, these are little things that I'm feeling different. Maybe it's my right wrist is bent, my left wrist is a bit more bowed, elbow's a bit more bent, weight left, hips turning in the spine behind it. So it's really good training. Now, once you get familiar with that, then we can kind of keep it going to post-impact, where we can keep training that little swivel with the left hand. And oftentimes, you go back to what you said with that no, no, yes. The first one is no question the one we see the most, right? They come down and they early extend, and now they're taking that 8-iron and turning it into a 9-iron.
Right.
Where before, you're turning it into a 7-iron. And so you can see the net effect here of 8 degrees, 10 degrees, and what that might mean to a golfer, right? All things are equal with the speed. So let's go ahead and go to impact. And this time, after you hit the bag, I'll go ahead and move it away. And what I'll do is I'll just give them a little resistance here. And now just go ahead and turn through, let the spine extend. And I'm going to exaggerate a little bit here, you know, but I'm going to let the club face turn down a bit like that. So I'm still turning it down, so that face is now 45 to the target line. And I still really haven't let it go per se. You know, so I've just kind of trained a little post-impact, kind of sustaining things, letting the face swivel down. And I'll get people just to hit shots to this little post-impact and just little punch shots for the first time where that shaft comes in forward. And even like, you know, that shaft kind of running up that arm like that, almost a little unhinging of that wrist. Club head's down below the hands, face 45 degrees to the target line.
Love that.
And even though that's a bit of an exaggeration, right? Them feeling this and training this, I mean, it's like night and day. Go ahead and hit with a little punch shot like that. And they'll hit one and be like, wow, I've never
really
compressed a ball like that before. And it came out low and the ball speed was faster. All those things.
And I think to that point too, as you come through, because golf instruction is one of those things too where it's like, this is right or wrong, or like, dude, all that matters is how you hit the ball. So like if you're doing something like this and you're doing it, whether it's conceptually good, bad, or indifferent, dude, if you're hitting the ball and you're compressing a lot more than normal, I think by definition, that is the right thing for you. Like, keep doing those things.
I agree.
Maybe that's just top of mind today because I've had that conversation a lot. But so let's say I was doing that and I'm doing the bag, right? I'm getting a sense of what that feels like. I definitely get a sense when I do the bag that my trail arm is a little bit more bent. I have a little more like sort of oblique crunch, and my right wrist a little bit more bent, right, compared to normal, which are all good things. And so I'm going to do a couple of those sort of stopping here shots into the follow through.
Little punch shot.
Little punch.
Not a lot of speed, just
a little puncher.
Conservative backswing. And it's just a little punch shot, and we're trying to kind of feel these alignments through the zone, the body supporting it. And I like doing it off a tee, Eric, like you are here. You start getting some feedback. You can see the tee kind of exploded there, the divot working out ahead of the ball. For the first time, a lot of times we're seeing players hit the ground for the first time here.
Exactly.
And the leading edge getting involved a bit, peeling a divot.
A little longer, but same sort of idea.
Ball flight's coming down, more penetrating.
And the piece you said in the follow through too, that I want to just touch on with where the club is. And obviously this will be player dependent. And heck, Travis, I mean, it's grip dependent, right? It's body, there's a lot of dependence. But all else equal, if we're looking to compress it, have the ball fly straight, little draws, maybe not go right, I think what you mentioned about looking at where the toe is relative to the heel or the face angle in the follow is real important.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'll get a lot of players, you know, maybe high-end players who have maybe over rotation, which I always think the funny thing about over rotation is like they're probably shooting close to par. It's like a big tax bill.
You're right.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
Like 90% of people should get to there.
Right.
But when you come through, like the toe on top of the heel pointing to the left, I think is a big, big one.
Yeah, so we go back to our no, no, yes, right? So no,
Yeah.
so no was the early release. So what we want to see with that person when they're hitting is we want to see them turn through, and we want to see that the club shaft stays down, like the club head is lower than the hands.
Yeah.
Because if they're throwing it, what they're going to do is that's going to want to swing up quick, and you're going to see this finish.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to say, okay, wait a minute. He's telling me to finish here where the shaft's kind of pointing down, but I'm up here. You know,
Yeah.
so you start to feel what you're doing in your hands and arms to kind of throw that up there. And now you start educating them and getting the sense of this being down here as the body turns. The club head's swinging up. We know that.
Yep.
Right? But you feel like you're almost, you know, kind of down here a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a very different feeling, and it takes a while to get to that point. But when you do get to this point, you have started to eliminate a great deal of that early release. So that's the first no.
Yeah.
The second no, the hang-on guy,
Yeah.
right? So what would happen here is this, you know, when you hang on, you're going to see the face riding, you know, at a right angle to the target line. So you can see that face is more there versus swiveling down more like that. You know, so now that's a good sensation person to feel that. They have
yeah.
shaft lean. They're going to have a good chance to keep it here. But that swivel is a new piece. And usually that swivel, if you have a person that's really hanging on, that person that's been over there for years,
Yeah.
it can take that kind of manual training
Yeah. Yeah.
to get it out of there.
Yeah. And you know, again, depending upon the player, like if you're someone who hits big hooks to the left, yeah, then like, listen, you feeling a little bit more here,
Right.
probably cool.
Yeah.
But the greater majority of us don't have that problem.
That's right.
And so when you come through, the benefit of doing this, and what I particularly feel, Travis, when I'm doing that, is my wrist is more unhinged, right, so ulnar. I feel like my wrist is a little more bowed,
Yep.
and I just have a little bit of supination. That's what I feel, those three movements. And guess what? Right, the best ball strikers do those.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's what they do. They do those things the most.
Right.
They do those things the most.
Yeah, if someone's watching, like, well, I tend to overhook it, well, then you can go ahead and come in here and, you know, we can do the same stuff, and I can just kind of give you this little lower left exit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so now the handle wants to disappear a little less and a little more over here.
Good point, yeah.
That'll kind of slow the face down a bit, where I think for the majority, feeling like you were just describing beautifully out here,
Yeah.
ulnar, face, you know, a little more flexed, face turning down. I like that for 85% of people.
Yeah.
That guy that's hooking it, just go ahead and move it a little more lower left through the zone, and that'll help.
Exactly. One of the other things that I think pertains to this is turned into a Clubface conversation, but I think that sort of hits the point, right? Maybe if they don't have a bag, they can use like pillows,
Yeah.
like stuff pillows up. So if they're at home training, you guys can do this, use a mirror video and match, like look at what you look like at impact versus any of your whatever decent ball strikers,
Yeah.
right? And sort of pick the differences game, and oftentimes that'll be it. Check the club face angle. One of the things, and this is the last time I'll bring up club face, you had made a post that the essence of it was at the top of the backswing, you had player A with the face open and player B with the face, we'll say closed.
Yeah.
And you were like, if you took player A and player B and sent them away for 2 months,
Yeah.
and you came back and looked at how their swings evolved, player B, the one with the face more closed, would have developed lots of good things in their swing,
Yeah.
and player A would not have. And I think that goes to your point of like, yes, let's get it ready to go earlier. But man, Travis, I can't tell you how many golfers I've had where it's like, if you could learn how to hit these shots that are penetrating, curve them left, like hit them little hooks in the
Yeah.
beginning, like perfectly
Sure.
fine.
Absolutely.
Gosh, does that line you up to do all the other stuff good?
It does, you know, and it's funny how that post garnered so much feedback, is just saying, look, if, you know, there's one person,
Yeah.
and then his twin brother is there,
A twin brother, yeah.
you know, and then it's like, okay, you two go play golf. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you another thing. You know, that they're gonna come back, and this person here with that face more shut is probably more likely gonna learn how to get the club to kind of shallow a little bit from the inside. He's probably gonna learn to have some forward shaft lean like we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the body starting to kind of support that through the zone, where the other one, he's got his work cut out, right? So more times than not, what we see is we see a player either, you know, come over the course or they pull down sharply. But either way, they have to kind of start throwing things out at the bottom to get that face around. So often, you know, we'll see that shaft leaning back because of that person that's like that. So getting that face prepared, I think goes wonders. But I found, look, you get in here meat and potatoes, and you start training these little punch shots, especially if you're someone who's been throwing it your whole life. I mean, I'm telling you, like when the light comes on and you're able to do this stuff to here and demonstrate to yourself, it's like, wow, that feels amazing. You know, now I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a little bit more, same action. The finish is gonna slowly get bigger.
Yeah.
But all this impact zone training starts to do wonders.
And I think, dude, that's awesome. I think that, you know, the piece on this training, because inevitably it's like, you know, what do you do next? What do you do next? Well, just like you learn anything, right? You go a little longer, you go a little faster. But like I would do in any other sport growing up, there's fundamental drills you do. Like there's fundamental skills that you improve at. And this is something that you could do, I think, forever. You can get too good at. And I know I said I'm gonna stop talking about it before, but just if you come down and the face is too open going into the bag, like close the face. Close it earlier, close it late, but close it sometime. Close the club face. So impact training, arms and hands, that was beautiful, awesome. Guys, hopefully that, and gals and everyone else, hopefully that provides good training for you, something you can do inside, outside, and really for the rest of your life. Learn how to get the ball penetrating, staying straight or curving left for most of us, add speed, add length. We're gonna put Travis's info down below, go check that out. We'll put another card on the screen, very similar to how the arms, hands, impact work like this. We'll put the logo for CogornoGolf.com. I'd love to work with you there.